We're glad to be at the 13th Avenue Dream Center, and this is the community town hall meeting for the Faith-Based Alliance Corporation. My name is Tim Polk. I'm the chair of the Faith-Based Alliance, and I want to welcome you to this community forum. And I want to just thank you again for braving the rain and being here. We're going to have an energetic town hall meeting from the standpoint we're going to hear from the school board, and also we want for them to hear from you. So we want you and welcome you again. As you well know, we started a new school year, and we're trusting in God for the protection of our children and also of our teachers and our school administrators. I want to thank again for Dr. Green for graciously accepting this honor to address this audience in regards to the status of Manatee County schools. I was telling Dr. Green earlier today, I saw in the paper today that Lincoln Memorial Middle School is now going to be a charter school. And I was telling her I have two of my grandchildren go there. One is an 11-year-old and one is a 12-year-old. And so I'm personally involved in schools. Even as a grandparent, I'm glad to do that. I know the history of Lincoln Memorial from that standpoint, so I'm honored that my grandchildren are going to that school. We're going to have a lively discussion in regards to the status of Manatee County schools. And I'm going to bring, as a moderator, it's going to be our vice chair, Dr. Willie Holly of Pathways Christian Fellowship, and he's going to be our moderator and facilitator. So Pastor Holly, come on board. So we'll be moving forward on this regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim, and good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Praise the Lord. That's what we are looking for, engagement. This is all about you having an opportunity to interface and in dialogue with the leaders of the school district. That's critically important in our minds, and as the Faith-Based Alliance, one of the things we try and do is to be that conduit, that opportunity to bring together organizations within the community and the community itself. And of course, what more important organization is there than the school district? All of us, indirectly or directly, are impacted by their operations and what they do. The Faith-Based Alliance is an organization of local faith-based groups, community-based groups, and governmental organizations. And we have a strategy that involves us identifying issues in the community and working collaboratively to address strategies that will help us to resolve those problems. Often, we find ourselves in situations where there's a lot of talking past each other, but not talking with each other. So tonight, we want to give you a chance to talk with your school district rather than having to hear it secondhand, thirdhand, or whatever. There are a few things we need to establish up front. First of all, the restroom facilities are back there if anybody needs them, right through those double doors. We ask you to silence your cell phones at this time to make sure that we can have an uninterrupted presentation. We want to be courteous to one another. We want to make sure that those from the audience who desire to speak be recognized by raising your hand. And we have a mic here. You can come and ask your questions, or you can raise your hand if you have some ambulatory issues, and we'll bring a mic to you. But wait to be recognized. The other thing we ask is that you form your statements in the form of a question to allow us to get to as many people as possible. And what often happens in these settings, from time to time, people have an issue they want to promote. Well, we are not here to do that tonight. We're here to have questions presented to these people and allow them an opportunity to respond to you. That way we all benefit. So we would ask your cooperation there. Each of you should have received a survey when you come through the door. We would like for you to check those few things. There's only like 5 questions, but we're trying to gather some data to get some idea of where the needs are in this community, and then try and come up with strategies to address them. So with that said, without further ado, I want to bring up Dr. Green, Dr. Diana Green, who is the superintendent of schools here in Manatee County, and she will introduce her staff. They'll have a presentation, and then we'll follow that with the open town hall meeting. Amen? Dr. Green.
Thank you. Good evening. It's indeed an honor and humble to be here to share with you about what's happening in the school district. And I'm also very thrilled and honored that some of my senior leadership team was able to be here with me tonight. So I'd like to introduce them. First, we have Mr. Ron Serrana. He's the Deputy Superintendent for Operations. Miss Cynthia Saunders, she's the Deputy Superintendent for Instruction. Miss Wileen Cayasso, she is Director of Exceptional Student Education. And Mr. Willie Clark, Director of Student Services. So they will be here also to help me answer your questions. So that we have plenty of time for the question period, I may move quickly through my presentation. Normally this presentation is about 40 to 45 minutes. So I will try to be thorough but brief at the same time, if there's such a thing. I want to start with our district goals. These goals have been in effect since I became superintendent in 2015. And we want to achieve an A school district rating. We are very proud this year we moved from a C school district to a B. But that is not the end of the journey, and until we reach an A school status, one of my goals will not be met. We want no D or F schools. 4 years ago, when many of the people who are here on the podium with me, we had 19 D and F schools 4 years ago. Today, we have no F schools for the first time since 2009. However, we still have D schools. And our goal, hopefully by the end of this school year, that we will have no D or F schools. Everything is not about school grades. We want to make sure that our students are performing at a level that not only are they prepared for their state assessment, but they're prepared to go on to the next grade level. They're prepared to meet the rigorous coursework for a standard high school diploma, and they are college or career ready. There are more opportunities when students graduate with a standard high school diploma than students who get their GED, students who drop out. Our students with a standard high school diploma have an opportunity to go to the post-secondary level. They can go to locally MTC, Manatee Technical College, USF, Sarasota Manatee, or the State College of Florida. Many of our students that are at the high school level, we are very proud to say that This past year, they earned over $17 million in scholarship monies for college. They were accepted to over 200 colleges and universities across the United States. We also want to be effective and efficient operations. I feel like I need to get louder because the rain sounds like it's getting louder than me. 5 years ago, the school district was in a financial disaster. We were $8 million in the hole. Through working with many departments, working to improve our operations of the school district, this past year we ended with the largest fund balance we've had in probably 10 years. We ended with a little over a 4.5% fund balance, which equates to a little over $25 million. So we are very proud of our finance department and the individuals who have played a role in helping us remain, and the last goal, financially solvent. We just presented to our board our balanced budget, and on September 11th, they will vote to approve our budget. And that budget, again, is indicating that we are going to have a strong ending fund balance for the 17-18 school year. One of the ways that we continue to let our community know what's happening with our schools is through our communications. Last year, we started a program called ManaTeach, What I Taught, What I Learned. That program was opening up the windows into our classrooms. We felt too much of the public was focusing on what was happening in the boardroom and not enough of what's happening in the classroom. And so we developed many videos, if you will, that teachers and staff could showcase what was happening in their classroom. Last year, we had more than 45 teachers and staff develop videos. We had 46 videos published on our YouTube channel with over 15,000 views of any video ranging from elementary to high school. Because of this effort, the program ManaTeach, this last year, we received the Golden Achievement Award just last month from the National School Public Relations Association. That's how proud we are of what's happening in our classrooms and the achievement of what it took for us to show that we are truly reaching out to our community. ManaTeach will continue this year. Now we are expanding into reaching our community and putting a face on the school district of Manatee County. So we are calling ourselves #WeManatee. #WeManatee is short for We Are the School District of Manatee County. It is designed to promote a sense of pride and unity, not only for our school district, which we have close to 7,000 employees, and just today, a little over 49,000 students. We want that unity and pride to be in the community of Manatee County. And so we are doing this based on the belief that it takes all of us. It takes the community, it takes the school district, it takes our public officials to ensure that we can offer the highest quality education for our students. So #WeManatee puts a face on our school district. We are very fortunate. You will see the inaugural video in our first video in just a moment, but we are very fortunate that Spectrum has decided to donate airspace for our #WeManatee. And so starting in September, those 30-second PSAs about the school district of Manatee County will start showing on Bay News 9.
Who is the school district of Manatee County?
I am the school district of Manatee County.
Good morning. I am the school district of Manatee County.
Good morning. What then might lead you crime? I am the School District of Manatee County.
Good morning, Mr. Buckley. How are you? I am the School District of Manatee County.
I am the School District of Manatee County.
I am the School District of Manatee County.
Who is the School District of Manatee County?
I am the School District of Manatee County.
I am the School District of Manatee County.
I am the School District of Manatee County.
We are the School District of Manatee County.
Join us at wemanatee.net.
As I stated, though, that will be our first inaugural video being shown on Bay News 9, reduced down to 30 seconds. But the first student that we are presenting on #WeManatee is a young man by the name of Tyler who graduated from Braden River High School. He was the pitcher on the last game for the University of Florida as they won the national championship. So this is the video of Tyler.
They're playing the national championship game, especially as a freshman, was the best night of my life. It was an amazing feeling, and I don't think there's anything that can top it.
There it is. The Florida Gators are your national champions.
Tyler Dyson's just a kid who loves his family, loves his friends, loves his hometown, and loves to play the game of baseball. I moved to Manatee County when I was 8 years old, and I attended Freedom Elementary to start, then I went on to Hale Middle School, and then Braden River High School to finish it out. When we got to high school, Coach Bowen was kind of there for me from the start. Me and him got really close. We're still close now. Never gets old.
I tell you, man, it was a joy as a former coach to watch you. That was pretty incredible.
It was fun out there.
You don't get much of an opportunity like that as a high school coach to see that.
My fondest memories at Braden River High School were just the relationships being built. It prepared me for more than just baseball. The class that I took, the teachers that I had, it just prepared me for life in college. Every opportunity you get is another opportunity to succeed, so might as well just go out there and try to do what you can. I am Tyler Dyson, and I am the School District of Manatee County.
Join us at wemanatee.net.
If you go to wemanatee.net, you can see our second video, which is up. Our videos are not just about students, they are about our employees, they're about community members, anything that is happening in our community that it will have a positive impact on our students. So look more for #WeManatee. I hope you'll see many of our employees wearing their new t-shirts that we are designing so that we can continue to show that we are proud to be the School District of Manatee County and that we are people that love our life, we love what we do, we love our community, and that we are committed to ensuring that our students are successful. Moving on to academics. All too often, our community is completely unaware of the school district's demographics. Since 2012, we've been growing about 800 to 1,000 students per school year. Our demographics have changed over the years. Today, 52% of our students are minority, 33% Hispanic, 3% multiracial, 2% other, 14% African American, and 48% Caucasian. This has been a massive change in just 5 years. Also, a little over 65% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. We have approximately 49,000 students. So if you do the math, that's a lot of students who are either in poverty or what we call ALICE, the working poor. We have 25 Title I schools in our district, And of those 25 Title I schools, 100% of the students that attend any one of those schools are on free or reduced lunch. So yes, 65% district-wide, but in 25 schools, it's 100%. Our 2016-17 school grade history. If you keep up with education, you know every so many years the state of Florida changes their end of year assessment. 2 years ago, it was changed to the Florida Standards Assessment. Therefore, the grading and rigor of course content, course mastery went up significantly. And we are very proud that even in these higher standards, our schools are making progress and improving. This year, we have 14 A schools. That is almost 3 times the number of A schools that we had in 2016, which was 5. We have 13 B schools, 21 C, 11 D, and 0 Fs. As I said, just 4 years ago, we had 19 D and Fs. And actually, we would have only had 5, but 4 of our C schools, whether they were a charter or a traditional school, fell from C to D. So we have a very aggressive plan to support those schools in their core content area. Ms. Saunders and I have taken a more active role. We each have a number of the D schools. We split them, and we provide individualized support for those administrators at those schools, as well as our differentiated accountability team that goes in and supports those schools. So we believe the strategic plan that we have in place is going to allow us to move our schools to that next level and also provide a safety net. So once we get them to a C or better, we won't allow them to fall back down into the D or F range. But as I said, everything is not about school grades. We are excited about our new initiatives that we are putting into our schools, and the one that is bringing me the most pride is that this year we will have universal screening for all second graders for gifted education. In the past, students could get into gifted education if a parent recommended them or a teacher recommended them. All too often, students have these talents, but they may not demonstrate them at school. They may not demonstrate them in the ways that we think that they should. And so we've decided that second grade, that is a grade level that students they're not afraid to talk to the guidance counselor. They're at a level that they can communicate, they can read. So we will be screening 100% of our second graders for gifted education. This year we are piloting 2 athletic programs into our elementary schools. The first one is soft stick lacrosse. Lacrosse is becoming very popular. We will have 2 lacrosse teams, is it this year? Starting this year, I forgot. Our first one that will start will be at Manatee High School. And so we want to get students interested in this sport. It's one of the highest scholarship generating sports, especially for girls. Many times girls have a hard time finding athletic scholarships. Well, lacrosse is starting to offer full rides. And so what better way to introduce this to students when they're in elementary school? Our second program that we're piloting is First Tee. That is golf. We are working with our local golf courses to provide equipment for 2 elementary schools to start teaching students about the sport of golf. We're also very excited about MySMD app. If you don't have it downloaded on your phone, I suggest that you need to do so. The app on your phone can connect you to information of the school district, as well as your child's individual school. We are enhancing it now. Students might not like this. Parents can now check their child's grades, attendance, and discipline all from their phone. So that will be coming live before the end of the school year. So if you're not keeping up, all your parents have to do is go to the app and they can find out that information. We have two really interesting initiatives that are being started through Ms. Cayasso. We will be one of the first districts in the nation, and I have to give kudos to Ms. Saunders because she saw it on a television show. And we have ordered our first set of robots that will allow students who are homebound to be actively engaged at their base school. So this robot stands about this tall, and wheels, it has wheels for legs, and it has a screen. On the screen, you see the student who is homebound. That student who's homebound, they can see their teacher, they can see their classmates. The robot will go from class to class. The robot will have a buddy so that it ensures that, it doesn't go the wrong direction or it goes to the right location. Our first robots will arrive in September, and we will be using this for students who are homebound or what we call intermittent homebound. They may be out of school for 3 months, and we want to make sure that they can maintain their studies at their school. Our second robot is for students with autism. The robot is called Milo. Milo comes in 3 ethnicities: Caucasian, Hispanic, and African American. And Milo will work with students who are on the autistic spectrum that may have socialization issues. Milo will teach them how to interact with other people, how to interact with adults, how to interact more with their family. Milo talks like a normal child, looks like not quite so much like a normal child. His hair is kind of a little interesting. He wears a spike, but Milo stands about 3 feet tall, and students will use iPads to communicate with Milo. Last but not least, second to last, we are also implementing a new transportation app. Transportation is the best thing that someone ever dreamt that should happen with schools. They just should have had that thought and then thought about the complexities of picking up over 16,000 students, transporting them safely from home into school, and then thought about something different. It is very challenging to ensure that buses get where they need to be. And in this era of transportation or bus driver shortage, any given day we might be down 16 to 25 bus drivers. And those students still need to be picked up. And parents do not know whether the bus is going to be on time. Is it going to be 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late? Is it going to come home on time? Through our new transportation app, parents will be able to sign on through their child's bus, and they can actually see where the bus is located. It'll send them an ETA. It'll be similar to like a GPS, their personal GPS of where their child is on their school bus. And last but not least, this year will be the inaugural Superintendent's Senior Scholar Awards. We want to recognize those students who have been with us and who are graduating with GPAs of at least 3.8. We need to hear from those students. We need our community to know that their children are in good hands being with the School District of Manatee County. We do a lot of recognition for our highest achieving students, and we do a lot of recognition and concern for our students that are struggling. But all too often, our average students who are good students, we do not give them the recognition they deserve. So this year, seniors who are graduating with at least a 3.8 GPA, we are going to have a massive award ceremony and recognize their accomplishments. And they will be able to tell their family and community members their aspirations for after high school. Finances. Am I good on time, Pastor? Am I good on time? Okay. I want to share the tentative budget. This is our budget for the school district for the 2017-18 school year. Our budget comes in 3 major categories. General fund, that is our operating fund. That is what we use to pay salaries, to buy supplies, pay the electric bill. Those dollars support running the school district. Our capital fund, we can only use those dollars on capital projects and capital expenditures. Other, you'll see down at the bottom, we have debt service, food service, grants, internal service, trust and agency fund balance. So for the 17-18 school year, our total appropriation will be $856,561,226. That's what it takes to run a school district of 49,000 students. How do we derive those dollars? A quick lesson in Florida finance. A percentage of our dollars come from what we call the FEFP. That means it's based on the number of students in your school district and how much money they generate. And then the other half comes from local taxes. So our local taxes is based on that dollar figure of $229,869,472. We receive those dollars from our local taxes on property tax. It's broken down further. The state of Florida tells us how much the minimum we must charge in taxes. So our required local effort is 4.357 mil. And off to the side, you can see how much money it generates. And that is generating at a 96% level. And 96% level means that the local clerk has collected 96% of all available tax dollars. We have a prior period adjustment of 0.003. Our capital outlay, that is only for capital expenditures, is 1.5 mil. New this year, the law requires us to give a prorated portion of those dollars to charter schools. The 1.5 has always been for the school district, but this year we will give about $4.2 million to charter schools for capital outlay purchases. Discretionary operating 0.748 for a total millage of 6.608. So that's what you see on your tax bill. And those are what is off to the side are the dollar amounts that are raised through local property taxes. So again, very briefly, our total appropriation is a little over 856 million. Locally, we get a little over 230 million. Construction. A few slides ago, I told you we were growing about 800 to 1,000 students per year. So if you do simple math, over the last 4 years, we've grown from 3,200 to the possibility of 5,000 students. Well, if you're not building schools, that means you're starting to have overcrowded schools. And right now, we are experiencing a boom in SS2 and SS1 SSA stands for Student Service Area. Our school district is divided into 4 student service areas. We have Service Area 1, which is more the parish, Palmetto, Ellington, and Parish area. Service Area 2 is Lakewood Ranch, Braden River area. Service Area 3 is what we call our Central Corridor. And then Service Area 4, which is everything between Bayshore High School all the way out to Anna Maria Island Elementary School. Our growth is happening here. So we thought that we could build a high school and not have to build anything for the next 5 years. Well, we met with the county development or county planning, and we've been told over the next 3 years there are plans that have been approved to build over 9,000 homes in these 2 areas. We have a formula we use to generate that tells us, well, if you have 9,000 homes, how many students will that produce? And based on that formula, not only do we need a new high school, we need a new elementary and a new middle school. So our goal is that in 1920, school year 1920, we will be opening up now North River High School, located in the parish area. We will open up a new elementary school, which is the little red dot there, very near to the high school. And we are going to build a new middle school that will be next door to Gullett Elementary. Now, one would think 3 new schools in 3 years, that should help with the issue of overcrowding. It will not begin to touch Lakewood Ranch High School. Today, Lakewood Ranch, on the 10-day count, is over 600 students over capacity. Gullett Elementary today is over 110 students over its capacity. We not only need to build 3 new schools, but we need to enlarge Witt Elementary. It will be completely renovated and a new wing to handle 200 additional students. We will also add new wings at Gullett, Willis, and Williams Elementary, enough to support 100 students. Now, I just said Gullett Elementary is 110 students on day 10 over capacity. This plan was developed 8 months ago, and now we're not even sure that wing will be enough to meet the capacity at Gullett Elementary. Even though we are building a new high school, Lakewood Ranch, we will need to build another wing for Lakewood Ranch to support an additional 200 students at Lakewood Ranch High School. All of this, as we stated, is supposed to be complete in the next 3 years. Is going to be definitely a challenge to complete that in the next 3 years, because we do need to balance what is growth and also how do we renovate our older facilities. We have Sugg Middle School. Sugg Middle School and Tillman Elementary are 2 of our, I don't want to say they're the oldest, but they have the most structural needs, and they are massive. And so between building for growth, we have to also develop these current facilities and ensure that we can renovate those schools to a level that students have pride attending Sugg Middle, that they will have pride attending Tillman Elementary. Our initial goal was to tear down Tillman and rebuild the entire school. However, this year a new law passed that a school had to be at least 50 years old before you can demolish it. So we will not be able to demolish Tillman. We will now have to do a major renovation, and the students will have to move off that campus for an entire school year. We would move them to Blackburn Elementary for us to do the work that is needed at Tillman. Basically, everything I just said was related to this slide on service area 3 and 4. The growth is not happening as quickly in this area, but again, these are where our older facilities are located, and we need to ensure that we have dollars to support those facilities as well as build for new growth. So the price tag of this. We were very fortunate, and thank you as a community that you voted for the extension of the half-cent sales tax. That will begin again in 2018. And our board has moved forward with the county to collect 100% of impact fees. And so these projects, at the time that these plans were developed, were going to cost $180 million. We were able to bond $150 million to support the brand new schools. So we have $150 million to support the new high school, elementary, and middle school. We will also use a portion of impact fees to build the wings that are needed at these schools that are over capacity. But one of the problems we're already facing is the shortage of construction workers. We have the projects. We just can't find enough people to be a part of those projects. Today, right now, we have 4 projects in process. And many times what we find are their projects are delayed. We're experiencing weather like this. We are in the middle of combining Wakeland Elementary with Johnson Middle. And the wing that has been added to Johnson, that's being added to Johnson, is continuing to be backlogged. And so when those things happen, cost goes up. And we're seeing that other districts around the state or other municipalities are seeing that their costs are, for Pinellas School District, over 15%. So again, if you do simple math, 15% times 180 million, you can see the cost for construction is continuing to rise. So we will have to prioritize our needs, and my fear is that things like simple maintenance will have to be pushed to the side, and those things, when they are not kept on a regular rotation, they become big problems later, and you end up spending more money to deal with things if you could have kept the maintenance moving in a way that, you know, we touch every building every 2 to 3 years. So that concludes my presentation on what's happening in the school district of Manatee County. Now, I will tell you, we were talking at the 50,000-foot level. We would be here for the rest of today and tomorrow if I was to talk about all the things going on in the school district. But these are the things that we feel we needed to highlight and let our community know what's happening in the school district. I believe in 3 years, this school district will have a $1 billion budget to manage, to do all the things we need to do to educate our students and ensure that they are environments that are conducive to learning and that they have a high-quality, effective teacher in front of them providing that instruction. So at this time, we have our panel. Ask some questions of Mr. Serrana. He comes and nobody ever asks him anything. Because, see, did you hear that? So I'll turn it over to Pastor Holly and we'll start the questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Green. We see that we are facing a lot of challenges financially and otherwise in the district. The way we're going to do this tonight is we have a mic here that you may come up and be recognized and state your question, and we ask you to keep it in the form of a question, or you receive slips, forms at your tables where you can write your question and they'll pick it up and we'll get as many of those asked from the podium as we can. So with that said, we are ready to start. Anyone that wants to start out, may come to the mic, please. We have to come to the mic because everything is being recorded for the record. You may.
I'm Deborah Thomas. I'm seeing on the news, reading in the paper about the teacher shortage, not just in Florida, but nationwide. Would you address that, please?
Yes, there is a shortage. We have today in probably 60 vacancies. Would you agree, Ms. Saunders? And today is the 10-day count. Tomorrow we'll make decisions about what schools are under-enrolled, what schools are over capacity. And we are very nervous because we do not believe there's anyone for us to hire. The second part, Manatee County is situated between Sarasota County and Pinellas County. Both of these counties have a 1 mil local tax. These counties are paying teachers higher than we are. We just submitted to the board a list of over 163 teachers who have left our district since July 1, just since July 1. And the bulk of them are leaving to go to either Sarasota or Pinellas, and it's very simple. They pay more money than we do. So we did present a plan to our school board yesterday in a workshop to ask them to consider putting a resolution for a referendum for a 1 mil property tax in Manatee County. And sometime in September, they'll make a decision whether they want to move forward, because we cannot compete. It doesn't matter how nice I am, how much we say hashtag we Manatee, we're family. There comes a time that, okay, I gotta put food on the table, I gotta do other things, and I can still live in Manatee County and just drive over the bridge and make anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 more, or live in Manatee County and go a little further south and make up to $9,000 and $10,000 more. For administrators, they're paying over $20,000 more. And I am very blessed and very thankful that our administrators choose to stay here. We lose 1 or 2 a year, but if they left in droves like our teachers are, we would be very hard pressed to ensure that the growth we've made, we're not going to be able to maintain it. And that's what I shared with my board yesterday, that if you want to be the #1 school district in the state, we're going to have to compete. We can't decide we want to be the national championships and the team is still wearing hand-me-downs, and we can't afford to buy a football. Then you're not going to be able to compete, and that's where we are right now.
If you have a question written out, just hold it up and the young lady will come and receive it and bring it forward. The mic is open if you want to come to the mic as well.
Good evening. I'm Deborah Wooten, and I have a simple question. I didn't hear anything said about Southeast High School. Is it in good shape or declining or on the outs or anything like that?
I'm so glad you asked.
Really?
Because I didn't see mention of that, and it really should have been. Well, a little bit. Southeast is beautiful. It really is in good shape structurally. It's had, some renovations in recent years. But one new initiative that we are rolling out, and we're starting at Southeast, is we're putting top-of-the-line IT equipment there. And instead of projectors, as many of you might be accustomed to, we are rolling out smart televisions. Every television will have a 65-inch smart TV, which has a computer built in it, that will serve the purpose of a projector and run PowerPoints, give out any type of instructional material through that adaptation. In addition, this is how wonderful it's programmed. If you have a fire alarm drill and somebody pulls the fire alarm, the map of the evacuation goes up specific to the room and location of every classroom. If you're in a code red, it automatically puts the message displayed for every classroom with immediate time. The principal or the district office can push out messages timed to any class, any room, at any capacity. You know where you watch your TV at home and on the bottom it's rolling messages? At the end of the day, it will roll out any bus changes or information so we're not interrupting class instruction. So they will be our prototype, and they will have the first. We've already started rolling them out in batches of 20, so we're training the teachers. And I can tell you, if any of you have time, I invite you to go look at Southeast High School because it's going to be state of the art by the end of September.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the areas several people in the community have expressed concern about is bullying, both physical bullying in the schools and cyberbullying. I'd like for somebody to tell us what measures are being taken to ensure the safety of the kids in that area and to minimize bullying.
What we're doing as a district, we've done training with our staff, our principals, our deans and student support specialists who are primarily on campus dealing with discipline issues. We've trained them on how to identify bullying and what steps to take when they're told about a bullying incident. So we have things in place on each and every campus. Every campus has a bullying contact on it, and if a parent has a concern, a student has a concern, they most definitely can reach out to the school, let them know, and then that person will deal with it accordingly. So the district also has a reporting site, anonymous reporting site. You can go onto the website, and because sometimes the student may not feel comfortable coming to us, we realize that. Maybe you hear yourself from someone else. Most definitely you can go on there, type something up, let us know, and we'll look into it. So we're taking a number of steps around making sure our students are safe. Something else we put in place for this year, we're looking to do more around character education. We've always done, but something we wanted to do a little differently this year. We have a character focus map where we're going to be talking about various characters we want to see our students employ. For instance, the first month, September, coming up, we're going to be addressing respect, and each school will be showing little videos on that, talking to the students about what respect looks like and modeling that for our students. And we'll be talking about going over a number of characteristics, citizenship, kindness, what have you, throughout the year. Dr. Green brought up, and this is an elusive area, as you know, with the technology. Mrs. Sonder talked about how great it is, and it is great, but on that flip side, there's concerns with it as well. Students with that technology, we have a rise in students, making statements online, threats to other students, picking on other students that way. When we have incidents that way, we most definitely get law enforcement involved, and we take steps, to deal with that. Something we're seeing a little bit in schools, and we always have, but like I said, with the technology being a lot easier to use and more access, have students making threats over social media to do harm to schools or do harm to students. And that's something, Dr. Green did a video this past year. We just rolled it back out, talking to students about how important it is that we don't have that. And when we do have cases that way, we're going to take measures to deal with it.
One other area that has come to the attention of the Faith-Based Alliance is gang activity in the schools. And we wanted to know what does Manatee County look like? We're aware that nationally that's a problem, and we believe we have some activity locally as well, so maybe you can address that.
For a while there, probably 10 years ago, we did see a lot of documented gang activity. Don't have as much anymore. There may be isolated incidents that happen at schools, but most definitely, if things are happening, please let the school know as quickly as possible so that we can deal with it. Same thing. I mean, we're really emphasizing the character piece with all of our students and talking to them about what it takes to be successful. We just got to reiterate that. Schools got to do it. We're hoping parents are doing it. We know they're doing it. And then the community. I mean, we need your help with that as well. The churches, what have you, to be talking about, some of these things that are real negative and making sure our kids are prepared to be their best at school.
In the area of homework assistance, go ahead, Mr. Roth. You going to go there? Well, good.
Yeah,
you got to get to the mic and go way.
Okay. I'll get to it. I'm just curious. I know there were some changes for testing this year from the state. And could you explain what exactly they were? And also, with the municipalities, we have our own statewide organization, the Florida League of Cities. I'm assuming you have your own too, where you're projecting what you might see next year. So can you give a state of what the state is mandating testing-wise, and not only this year, current, and what you think might happen next year as well?
Well, there was a lot of chatter this year about state assessment, but at the end of the day, not much changed. They only removed one required state assessment test, and it predominantly impacted high school. They removed the end-of-course exam for Algebra 2. Even though that was not a mandated course that all students had to take, any child that did take that class had to take the state assessment. So it was removed. The other thing that talked in House Bill 7069 was changing the implementation or how the testing would be given or delivered for grades 3 through 6. The thought in the past legislation was it was all going to be electronic, and they had moved to almost implementing that. This last bill has now gone back and rethought that position to where they are going to change for next year testing in grades 3 through 6 for the reading and the math will be paper-based. So right now, those are the only changes that we are aware of, but you never know. Things change all the time, but that's what's on the horizon for this year as well as next year.
How you doing? My name is Jordan Ross. I have two questions. I really like the testing for gifted, the second grade. I think that's really awesome. The question there is there anything in place for the kids that are like in third grade and up to maybe catch them? And then my second question is there any like implementation of like new tech programs, like coding's huge across the world, and then of course it's good to get involved when you're a child. So is there anything like that in the pipeline or anything now?
I'll do tech and you can do, Lean can do gifted. I'll answer part, and Lean's department is implementing the gifted, so she'll address that. We have just rolled out a number of new vocational programs. We're predominantly trying to hit the middle schools. We've added a robotics class at King Middle School as well as Sugg Middle School. Both of those we've put in $120,000 in equipment and materials so that they have state-of-the-art programs. And you're absolutely right, that's what students want to see. In addition, we're adding a construction program at Bayshore High School. We only have one of those right now, and it's at Palmetto. That, of course, with the shortage and the need of that industry, we're hoping that many students that are not choosing to go to college will leave high school with an industry certification and be prepared to enter the workforce immediately. One thing that I think you'll find pretty impressive with the new high school we're building, it will have the first automotive program in the region, in the Manatee-Sarasota region, at a traditional high school. In addition, it will have electronics, robotics, and a big healthcare industry certification program. So we are really trying to beef up, especially in our secondary schools, a number of vocational programs that's going to keep students interested in coming to school. I'll turn it over to Willing for gifted.
Good evening. The answer to your question about the upper grades after second grade, we do continue to do evaluations and testing and screenings. Those students can also do self-referrals. Parents can refer, teachers, guidance counselors. So we do evaluate those students for gifted from first grade up to 12th grade. We don't do evaluations at kindergarten.
Another area of concern that has come to our attention is community-based GED opportunities. More than one young fellow pointed out that the program is on the west side, way out, and it's often difficult to communicate with those people via telephone and to get those appointments. So the concern is there anything available community-based, like at some of the local schools or churches where they can go and test and get the GED done? It's cumbersome and awkward now from what I understand, and I investigated it a little bit. And so it appears that before we used to be able to take the test right in the community, now we have to go out to the west side or to the technical center. And many of these people who are struggling to get a GED don't have transportation. So the question is, what can be done to help them?
That is a good question. We do have a huge need to expand that program. We do offer it at 2 or 3 sites right now. But one thing that I would like to do is maybe have a further discussion with Doug Wagner and the parties that are overseeing our GED program and see if we do have resources and locations where we can expand that. It certainly does provide a lot of opportunity, but you're right. If you don't have transportation, that could hinder your limitations of being able to take advantage of that. So we will see. Maybe I'll get with Dr. Green and get some contact phone numbers, and we'll set up a further discussion meeting to try to expand that.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Prince. There's a lot of movement towards electronics, and what about for families that can't afford computers or parents that don't have smartphones that can't check their students' grades on computers, or students that can't do required assignments because they don't have computers at home? Are there any other options for them? I know kids can go after school, kids can go to the library, but that requires transportation too. Some parents can't provide that. Are there any options for people in those situations?
Oh, you don't want to answer that one now. Hey, I'm gonna let the superintendent answer that.
Okay. We do recognize that there is a digital divide between our average and above average families that have above average incomes and then our students of poverty. Mm-hmm. So there used to be a law that we had to make 50% of anything we did digital. Well, the law just recently changed, but we offer our students the digital version and always the print version. So if they're gonna have to do something for homework, that should not, the fact whether they have a computer or not should not be a deterrent that they can't do it. We were looking into what would it take for the district to get to a one-to-one initiative. We have so many things that we're trying to resolve because technology is paid at, remember that capital budget I showed you? Technology, hardware is one of the approved purchases, but it's fighting for the same dollars that we have for construction. And right now, we are refreshing all of our computers that are located on the school site. So what we've seen at many of our secondary schools is that they make sure that students have access to those computers during the day or after school or before school. But we know that we have there's a need in the community, and we've got to figure out how we can support them. And that's why when we went to this MySMD app, we found that more than 90% of our parents, doesn't matter whether they have this. And that's why we've moved to a lot of things that they can access on the app for information. It's interesting. There was, I think I was on Bay News 9 on some news show, and they interviewed one of our students, and she did all her homework on her iPhone.
My daughter does that on her iPhone. She
They-
types
they-
papers on
and
her
they can
iPhone.
sit
She
there
said-
and they do it, and they can access all our digital software, all our digital content on their phone. So we've tried to make it easier for them if they have one of these, that they can pretty much access everything that we have. But we do need to figure out ways. We partner with Spectrum to offer affordable internet. It's not just enough to have this, you then have to be able to pay for the internet. And I believe they were offering a program that internet was only costing like $14 a month. But for some families, that's still $14 that they need to decide whether they're gonna go to the grocery store and pay for food versus paying for internet access. And so what we found is this is right now is our best device. So we still have a long ways to go.
Thank you.
Do we have others? I'm sure there are some things on your mind. One thing, as it relates to the digital divide and using that, many of the churches I know have resources, and it may be an opportunity for the district to partner with some of the churches. We promise we won't proselytize, but we see a lot of these resources sitting idle, and it may be an opening closer to where the kids are because they, in many cases, just don't have the transportation once again. Mr. Pope.
Yes, sir. And thank you, Dr. Green and panel. Great information. My name is Tim Polk. I'm the chair of the Faith-Based Alliance, and also I'm a grandparent. And I was a little bit remiss because I have a senior, one of my grandchildren goes to Palmetto High School, and he's a senior. And so this is good news because I'm always stressing him about going to college and all that. My question is, what percentage of our students graduate from high school and go to college?
Yes, I can answer the first part of your question, but the percentage that goes to college, right now in our database, we don't have a tracking system for like an exit survey. I know when we're at all of our graduation ceremonies, there is an acknowledgement where students indicate whether they are, and we hear scholarships and placement, but the actual percentage I don't have. Right now, our graduation rate is at 83% for the district. With that being said, many of our traditional all of our traditional high schools have a higher percentage than that. When we give a district average, it includes students that would graduate that could possibly be incarcerated in an alternative schools and so forth. So that kind of phrase it a little bit. Yes, ma'am. But Miss Harvey back there can tell you how many of her children graduate and go to college. So why don't you tell us what your percent of your children, Barbara Harvey?
Ready to work. They are already working, and they have jobs, great employment, and make pretty good money, especially if they go into construction.
Right. Many of the vocational trades, you're absolutely right. I hate to say, some of those can go to a vocational trade school and start out with a much higher wage than some folks with a college diploma. So it really, we need to offer all sorts of opportunities for students because it's not a one-size-fits-all. You're absolutely right.
Hi, my name is Everett Smalls. I'm a staff here at UCC. Is there a formula that you guys use to determine the number of days and when we get out of school, when the kids get out of school? For instance, if I read the calendar right, Memorial Day is on a Monday. We come back Tuesday, then we're done.
Dr. Green made that decision.
So, I mean, is there a way, you know, what's the thinking of that instead of like maybe taking a day away from Thanksgiving, because it really doesn't jive with.
Well,
I
it's
have two kids in there.
Yes, it's a combination. There is a calendar committee, and Dr. Green does not sit on the calendar committee. That is true. And then there's state statute. By state statute, we must attend school a minimum of 180 days. There's also a statute on high school seat time. So high school students must be in a course 132 hours. If the course is a semester, then you have to divide that by 2, and they must have seat time to cover that course. So we also have to take in consideration the desire of our community. Because many of our students are dual enrolled, our goal is to try to be as close to the college calendar as we possibly can. And many of our colleges end their semester at holiday break, Christmas break. So when the state allowed us to start school on August 10th, we took that opportunity to try to get our semester to end at Christmas break. Thereby, it's not a simple 90 and 90. Our first semester might be 87 days. As long as we meet that hour seat time for high school, it can be any number of days. So if we're only going to go 87 days and end at Christmas break, we have to figure out how are we going to add 93. And that's what sometimes throws you, oh, okay, Memorial Day is Monday. I got to get that other day in, and it's after. In addition, we also have a teacher contract. Our teachers in the contract are required to have so many teacher work days. So we have to build those work days into the calendar. We also have communities that have different religions, and we try to at least accommodate. It may not be considered a school holiday, so we make it a teacher work day. Therefore, if that particular religion, that's a holiday they want to observe, we're not putting those students in a position, do I have to ask for an absence or be excused? So if it becomes a teacher work day, then we don't have that issue to deal with. We actually have parents who sit on our calendar committee. Each union has a representative sitting on the calendar committee, as well as the administration. So all those factors must be applied to determine how the calendar is set up. The fact that the union, they gave the union a week off for Thanksgiving, that impacts the calendar. Hopefully, prayerfully, we will not have any hurricanes that will prevent us from going to school, but that has the ability to impact the calendar. But the very simple answer is the seat time for high school is a big determining factor, and if we only do less than 90, then we got to make sure we pick up those days in the second part of the school year or the second semester. By the way, we did reduce early release days. It used to be you had them every Wednesday. Now we're down to, and then we went to 8. Now we're down, and went to 7, and now we're down to 6. So we do try to listen to our community when something seems to be a factor for them.
Good evening. I'm Dee Dee Hager, and I work for Manatee County Habitat for Humanity. But my question is there something in place in the prison system to educate those that are incarcerated that may not have completed their education? I'm a firm believer that education is a way out of a lot of poverty and a lot of criminal behaviors. And I don't know if there's something in place to help those people get an education if they don't have one, or become skilled with a vocation.
Yes, ma'am, there is. We have teachers, district teachers at the Juvenile Detention Center and also at the port. They meet with students and work with them there. We also have a few, two transition specialists, so that when those students are released from those settings, they'll kind of help work them back into a regular school setting. So we do have things in place.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And also the GED.
Bundridge, and I have a question.
Go ahead.
My sister is an ESE student, and what plans do you have for ESE students that will have a better impact on them receiving the necessary education? With all the new changes, is there anything in store for them?
Thank you. I like that question. Yes, we have lots of plans for the ESE students. This year we have a 3-year initiative, and we're going to begin that this year. We're looking at increasing more inclusion. Last year was the last year for the special diploma, so now those students with all sorts of disabilities need to complete the standard diploma. So we have access courses to support them. We also have supports that we'll be building in at the school, so they'll be, when they go out to inclusion, they'll be supported by staff. Inclusion. Inclusion, before inclusion it was mainstream. Before mainstream it was dumping them out. It's basically looking at placing ESE students into general education. Used to be years ago that students were always removed from the general education class and it became a place. ESE became a place. Special education was somewhere over there. And now we're looking at when students are identified to need special supports, needing to be placed in special education, it's no longer a place. That service gets provided in their same classroom. And we just want to remind people that when they need to be placed in inclusion, that those supports need to come to that classroom and come to the students.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Tammy Gowdy. Just a question with the significant drug overdoses that we have. What is the district doing to help educate our children and our families to help prevent that from reoccurring?
We have a couple different programs that we're doing within schools. One is Know the Law, that we've partnered with resource officers to deliver in our schools, and they talk to students about the laws and drugs or what have you. Also, there's a program in the middle schools, Life Skills, that we have in play, and that also talks about drugs and alcohol abuse and making good choices or what have you.
Any chance the DARE program will be back?
I'm sorry?
Any chance the DARE program will be back?
No. No, it's a massive funding issue. And it's also through the sheriff's office. And Know the Law sort of took the place of DARE. So Know the Law, instead of talking with students in 5th grade, it starts in 6th grade. So our resource officers at the middle school and high school are teaching those classes to our students. We also have a partnership with the Manatee Drug Coalition. They do a lot inside our schools with healthy teens, which they're talking about the abuse of, it's more than drugs, but alcohol, risky behaviors. We just did our first annual 2020 focus, which that was to focus on our 9th graders, to talk to them about how do you ensure that you're going to be ready to be a productive citizen, one that is drug-free, one that is living a lifestyle that allows them to be confident and have the resources for support. And we had our school psychologists there. We had the Drug-Free Manatee Coalition there showing students what does opiate what does that look like? What is it? We had many conferences for the students, and they gained a lot of knowledge about it's more than telling you say no. It has a lot to do with, first of all, you got to love yourself, have that self-esteem that you're confident that you don't need something to make you feel better, but if you are having to take medication for whatever reason, how to also be responsible. So I think our programs with Know the Law, what we're doing with the Healthy Teens Coalition and the Manatee Drug-Free Coalition has been very powerful for our secondary students.
We'll take one other question, and for those who didn't get their questions, get a chance to ask their questions, we asked if you will write them and put a contact information on there. The Faith-Based Alliance will do a follow-up for you.
Yes, good evening. Reverend Kelvin Sims, Senior Pastor at Ward Temple AME Church here in Bradenton. I'm just, maybe the committee has already answered this question, but what specific programs can the faith-based community do to partner with the School District of Manatee County this year, whether there are any programs or outreach initiatives, anything, what can we do specifically this school year to ensure the success of our children?
We have a number of programs that you can be involved in. One, we have a program we call Reading Pals. We bring in volunteers to work with our kindergartners. They are matched with, and I promise you, once you're matched with one, you just want to you want another student to work with. But they come in and work with these students 1 hour a week on literacy skills. The school district trains all of the volunteers. We give you the resources. You are using digital content, so you need to learn a couple, push a button here and push a button there, but if you don't know, that kindergartner probably will tell you how to do it. But we train them and they come in and work with our youngest students. Our number one issue is early literacy. If we can catch them early in the ages of 3 and 4, 5 years old, and give them the necessary literacy skills that they need to be successful in 3rd grade, we are more likely to see them graduate from high school. I just shared with our school board that any student that is not reading proficiently in 3rd grade, which means they have to score at least a level 3 on our state test, and our test goes from level 1 to 5, so they need to be 3 or higher, they are 4 times likely to not graduate from high school. And they're 8 times likely to drop out or not graduate from high school if they are African American or Hispanic. So it's pretty sad to think that your future has been determined by the age of 8. And if you're not reading at a competent level that the statistics say, you don't make it. We have to break that cycle. And so we need more people volunteering in programs. There are more than just Reading Pals, but we have Reading Pals, we have Books for Kids, where community members are coming to help our teachers during the school day. Another program that I personally am very committed to is actually a faith-based program. In our elementary schools, we have programs, and all of a sudden the title of the program just left me. Good News Clubs. The Good News Clubs are like Vacation Bible Study. They are voluntary, and we are legally allowed to have them on our elementary campuses. They are after hours, but to have a Good News Club, a church has to adopt a school. That school principal has to agree, I will do it. And the club, the organization, which is the Childhood Evangelists, that's the name of the organization, trains the church members, the volunteers. The volunteers have to go through, the normal fingerprinting and all those things that you would need to volunteer. And so if a church was connected, and I'll just throw a school out, Tillman Elementary, once a week, those Good News Clubs would come, and children, their parents have to give them permission, and they attend a Good News Club. As a former principal who had a Good News Club, it was one of the most powerful things that I saw changes in my students. See, when students feel good about themselves and they feel they're a part of something, the learning part can come a lot easier. If they feel abandoned or they feel like no one cares about them, it's almost like the Charlie Brown teacher. Nothing. They hear nothing. And so I constantly, every faith-based organization that I've spoken to, I encourage them, please consider being a partner with the Childhood Evangelists group to adopt a school and have a Good News Club. And like I said, the basic premise is something similar to Vacation Bible School for after hours. Next, we have the Take Stock and Scholar program. Take Stock in Children, thank you. Yeah, I don't know, it's been a long day. It's been a long day. Take Stock in Children program for our students who are generally first-generation college-bound students, and you mentor a student for 4 years. You connect with that student, sometimes as early as 8th grade, and you stay with them as their mentor until they graduate high school. That program has a 98% not only graduation rate, but 98% college entrance rate. So there's one statistic. 100% of these students actually enter to college, but I believe 98% of them continue to matriculate and move through their college years. So that's another program. Becoming a business partner with the school in your church community that many of your members attend. Samoset Elementary, they have a partnership with, I think it's First Methodist, Harvest Methodist, and that church is their business partner. They come in and support them with reading materials. They bring books for the students. They have an annual clothing drive for the families at Samoset. So if a church has a number of members that have students that attend a particular school, check into becoming the business partner of that school. And we have someone at the district, her name is Deb Gambino. She trains you in how those partnerships can happen and how you can do positive things, not only for the school, but the school doing positive things for the church as well. So, do you have any other? Yeah, okay.
Well, we want to thank Dr. Green and her staff. Can you all show your appreciation for coming out tonight? And we want to thank each of you for coming out. We'll bring back up our chairman, Mr. Tim Polk, with some acknowledgments and final remarks.
No problem. I was telling my grandchildren this afternoon when they got home from school that I was going to be talking with Dr. Green, and they said, "Who's Dr. Green?" I said, "That's the superintendent of Manatee County Schools." Oh, okay. But again, I want to thank Dr. Green and the panel. It's great information in regards to what's happening in Manatee County Schools, and I'm really encouraged. and I think you guys are doing a great job. I want to make some acknowledgments from people who are here. First, Councilman Patrick Roth, City Councilman for the City of Bradenton, Ward 3. Barbara Harvey, Barbara, great hat, former school board member. Also, Al Davis, one of the clergy, and then State Representative Wingate Newton, is he here? Okay, he didn't make it, all right. We also want to acknowledge some of our board members, Norma Dunwoody. Norma, raise your hand.
You have another former school board member. She's sitting at the same table with Ms. Harvey.
Raise your hand, Norma, because we have some surveys that she's collecting. So before you leave tonight, make sure you get your surveys to her so we can get the information back to the school district. Also, I don't know if Mrs. Bacon is here, but she's also a board member. Drina Green, who's the executive director of the Dream Center. Drina, raise your hand. Fantastic job in hosting us tonight. Also, Tim Dutton, I think Tim might have left, who's a board member. Keisha Gaines, I don't know if Keisha is still here. Is she here? Oh, Keisha's back there at the table, okay. Joanne Spencer, Joanne with the pink blouse on and white pants over there in the bleachers. And also I want to acknowledge Ruby Bird, who's on the advisory board, and she is like my mother. Since I've been here over 10 years, and the guys not only advising the board, but also advising me. So I want to acknowledge, just want to acknowledge these people. It's very important you do that. I've learned a lot about what's going on in school, and from the standpoint of being a grandfather to have grandchildren in the Manatee County schools, I'm really, really blessed. I have two going to middle school with Lincoln. Then I have a senior going to Palmetto, and so I'm really blessed. And then I have two others that are graduated from, one from Palmetto and one from Braden River. So I'm all over Manatee County schools, Dr. Green. So I want to again acknowledge them for making a great presentation to the community, and also want to acknowledge you guys for coming out here and asking the important question in regard to your children, in regards to schools. At this particular, yes. I'm sorry, if anybody that I didn't mention who are clergy, you raise your hand so you get knowledge. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm Pastor Rosemary Backer from Gloria Dei Lutheran Church on Anna Maria Island. I represent from Habitat for Humanity, the faith-based initiative. We are planning an interfaith build, so churches working together to build a home. We'll break ground the second week in December and build January, probably through June. We have not done this in the past where all of the churches and groups are coming together, but I think it's a good witness to the community of what we can do and how important affordable housing is, that we have to make a difference in the community. So we are reaching out. We're trying to get as many different churches and different denominations a part of this, that we can witness to the entire community of how important it is. Thank you.
Thank you. And I serve on the Habitat for Humanity board with her as well. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Joanne. All right. At this particular time, we're going to have a closing prayer, and Pastor Al Davis will lead us in prayer. Again, I want to thank Dr. Green and the Manatee County School District. A fantastic job and fantastic information. So drive safely, and God bless you.